A common question from clients who are embarking on doing resource capacity planning is how to get the initial forecasts on the contents of the portfolio to put into the system. Because obviously you've got this great tool, you need to go to FTEs, what are you going to do? So there's kind of a short-term fix and the right fix. For a moment, I'm going to draw out the right fix. And you're probably going to be surprised at what this is. So the secret weapon that ultimately drives resource capacity planning is the initial business case. This is not a one page. Now, not talking 35 pages. This is usually, according to Donna, about 5 pages, but more importantly, it's a collaborative meeting. The biggest problem with everything in IT is the high-level swag. I want X, Y, Z. I think it should cost $1 million. I think it will take 20 people. And then in the old lingo, when the project manager got there, they threw out all of that and started again doing a full-blown requirements. And so a project that was supposed to be that big became that big. You can't run a business that way. What we're aiming for is some level of accountability of what is requested and what is delivered. Now, this doesn't take a lot of details, so I want to tell a quick story. I was doing a training class for a client, and I asked them on business case through resource capacity planning, and I asked them to get a real example of something that they didn't know how to justify. They knew it was important because it was part of the strategic plan, but they just weren't sure what to do with it. So we brought in 8 people, somebody from finance, somebody from purchasing, a couple of people from the area requesting, a couple of people from IT. And we had the users say, this is why we're asking for this. Let me be clear, we killed it in the first 20 minutes. How can you kill a whole business case in 20 minutes? By asking one question. What is this intended to deliver, and why is it going to solve the problem? In this case, it was a request for an IT application. I asked the question, what's it going to do that nothing does now? The answer is, well, we already have the reports in Excel. You got to get any more information? It's going to be the same. Why are you doing it? Because it's prettier and it is in support of the strategic objective. I said, don't think it's worth the time, effort, or anything. And everybody sagely nodded their head. We then said, so what's the real problem? Well, in their case, it turned out the real problem had to do with labor negotiations and who was doing what in the shipping area. Not even IT at all. Fundamentally, a lot of this, of what we're trying to smoke out is the business case solution solving the problem? And how much if everybody in a room tells you the business case is solving the problem is well articulated, and everybody agrees it's worth some amount of money, we've got so much information. We can then do a high-level And I'm using old words, but it doesn't really matter. We've still got to figure out what the work estimate is. And how fast. And compare that to how much is it worth? Because one of the things that happens here is everybody agreed it's worth $1 million. This comes out at $2 million. Is it worth $1 million more? If this gets to the point where it's going, a lot of people get sucked into sunk cost logic. What we're really talking about is it worth double the price? Maybe yes, maybe no, but we can start to get this. Once we've got this confirmed at a high level. Now, Murphy's Law still pertains. We all understand reality. We're not there yet. We are just trying to get to the point where we have capacity. We need to know how many projects against our capacity, but we need some decent data. Now, am I proposing that this has to be done for everything? No. Some things are small. Some things really don't matter because we're not going to start them in the first 6 months and we can catch up with it later. But we have to know this level for anything we're planning on starting. By the way, there's a secret to that. If we have to know this and actually be able to answer those questions and people can't, then they're not ready to start. Just think, we saved 6 months of futile effort. I'm really not joking about this. I had one client who, for political reasons, the company started a CRM project, but none of the users wanted it. So the project manager for that project had 17 people assigned to him to do the CRM package. Well, no one wanted it, no one would make any decisions. So by the time I arrived to do an assessment, I found out he was down to 3 people on his team and had quietly reassigned all the other people on his team because there was no work. This is really, really important. Is there a reason to do this? Do we believe we can actually create it for a price that it's worth? This is critical. If a user or a requester can't tell you how much it's worth, not you in IT answering how much it will cost, them answering by any context they want how much they want to pay. Now, we've got this, and let's say this came in at $5 million. Essentially, IT is coming up with a no bid. They cannot figure out how to come anywhere near the $1 million. And you know what? That's the right answer. This is an important concept because all too often, work flows into the IT pipeline. It's not ready for prime time. It's not well thought out. IT functions as a delivery organization. In fact, many parts of IT are literally called IT delivery of something that should never be done in the first place. The front end of this, now when we get capacity numbers, we really understand. We can look anybody in the eye and say, this is the business case, this is what it's worth. We have actually come to an agreement that we have a tolerance of another $500,000. So if it's 2, we can't do it, we'll cut scope, and this is how many people it is. And that then can be compared against all the other things that might happen, because a dollar can only be spent once. And if something is not ready for prime time, why start it? There's no urgency on something we have questions about. We can always put it in later by canceling something else not quite as valuable. So there are ways to get to capacity, but it's all in getting better control of the front end. Because other than that, let's be honest, you're making up the numbers. And the more numbers you make up, the more you've unintentionally, for the best of all reasons, started to undermine the thing that is really the linchpin of your portfolio process. Thank you.